Hey, welcome to Guitar Knobs, the guitars, gear, noise, and nonsense podcast, hosted today by these knobs. Hey, how you doing? It's me, Todd Novak. Welcome to Guitar Knobs. I am very happy you're with. It's just me today, so I'm going to say with just me. I am missing all my people, my usual knobs here, Tony, Jared, and Mike whenever he has time. But it's not just me, because guess who is on the line? I've got two. I got aces in the hole.
Florian Schneider, Millimetric instrument.
Derek from Lincoln Guitars.
Yeah, I got I got boomerang guests on the line for very specific reasons. And I'm really hoping, we're having some Skype issues, and I'm hoping that everything sounds good on the end. I'm going to do my very best. Editing might be a real fun time, but we'll do it anyways. We're going to talk about, as I mentioned, the Sonore. Am I saying it right, Florian?
Yeah.
Sonore Festival up in Montreal, Canada. I guess it's technically Montreal, Quebec, Canada, right?
Yeah, but we're not a country, so
yeah,
you should that the right thing to say. You should say Canada, but
okay.
Quebecers like when you say Montreal, Quebec.
Uh-oh.
I don't mind both. I like both. So
okay, good.
That's good.
And we're also just Derek from Lincoln Guitars, he went up and got to hang out with Florian. We were actually planning to go, but weren't able to. Sad, but true. So hopefully next year we'll be able to do that. So yeah, we had two awesome, amazing luthiers hanging out together, and that's really cool. So we're going to talk to them and find out, what was the deal? What are they like? Why should we care? I know we should, but they're going to tell us why. In the meantime, we are going to get on with it. We need to find out what's going on in our music worlds this week. I'm really sad that I'm sitting in this room all by myself, but c'est la vie, right? Is that how you say it, right?
Let's start with you, Todd.
Yes.
What's going on in your world?
Why, thank you. Let's see. This week, I got a... This is funny only if you follow the rest of the episodes, but I'm really not a fan of Stratocasters at all. I really do not like them.
You got a Strat?
Well, no, but I had to work on a Strat. A friend at work, his kid got a Strat, and didn't really know how to take care of it. And it's been a while since he played it, and I told him, hey, if he ever needs a little setup and needs a little, working on it, bring it in. So he brought it in. It's, it's good looking little guitar. It's just a little Squire. I took it back, and then I'm like, oh man, I got to change the strings on a floating trim, and the strings are destroyed and it needed clean. Just needed work. There was still all the plastic underneath all the bolts and the screws and everything. So I basically took the neck off, took the plates off. I took everything off so I could get all this crummy plastic off. And as a result, had to take all the strings off. So then I had to refloat the tremolo, and it's a very, very time consuming thing to do if you take all the strings off. If you don't take all the strings off and do them leave both E's on, I suppose it will do the trick. And you won't have to, refloat it. But it's
a guitar that requires a lot of work when you work on it because of the tram.
Yeah.
To me.
Yeah. So I learned some stuff. I had to go to the YouTubes and find out. Okay, wait a minute, because I was a big dum-dum, and to be honest, I'd never have restrung a floating tram. So naturally, I just kept tuning it. I'm like, no, that sounds like whoa. And then I look up, and I've got like a vertical, vertical trim bridge sitting end on end. So I was like, okay, I'm an idiot. I forgot to block the trim.
Right.
So I had to go back and do all that. But hey, I learned a lot, and that was the fun part. And I love working on the guitars and stuff. But I
Right.
still don't want one. So, Florian, what's up with you?
Well, mostly recovering from Sonore,
Mm-hmm.
which was pretty intense for me, my wife, and the 3 other organizers.
Uh-huh.
But
Is that because Derek is a wild man?
oh yeah, he's partying
Yeah.
too much and
I really made things uncomfortable.
no, it was super chill and but I got myself a present at Sonore.
Nice.
And I bought an Empress reverb.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, because I love reverb and yeah, Steve was there with the table and I drooled on that pedal the
Yeah.
whole weekend. So I say okay, fuck it,
Yeah.
let's take that home and I'm really happy. I've
That's
been playing
cool.
it since Sunday and there is a lot in there. Like there's like shimmer reverb, tremolo reverb. There's a beer mode.
All right, Derek.
I'm also recovering from Sonore, quite a bit less so than Florian. I had a lovely trip up there. It was mostly very, for me, very sort of re-energizing. There was, I just got back late last night. Yeah, did mostly doing some admin today, getting a little bit of work on the guitars done. Had a week in Montreal, and it was the best.
Have you been to Montreal before?
I have. My wife and I went a few years back, and it's amazing.
Yeah. I'm really fond of that city.
Yeah, it just feels different up there.
It really does. You
Yeah.
get there and you're like, I'm not in Kansas anymore.
Yes, and like in the best possible way.
Yeah, exactly.
But everyone at the show and just anyone we ran into in the city was so nice, and it was fantastic.
That's cool. Well, Derek, when I had you on very early on in the show's early days, you were one of the first guests. And
yes, thank you for having me.
oh, yeah, absolutely. It was great. Now, the only downside of that is that you didn't get to do the 1, 2, 3, 4 on the floor.
Okay. My 4 would be Boss DD20.
Okay.
Which I've had pretty much since it came out. And it's been through some gigging hell, and I've never ever had a problem with it. I think it's sort of I've kind of bought and sold a whole lot of delays that were all kind of did amazing things, but I've just always had that pedal.
What's
so that?
I mean, there's an awful lot of delays out there. Is there?
Right.
What is it with that particular one that you're just like, no, I'm going to stick with this?
I think it kind of had to do with it was the first sort of good pedal I ever got. Like,
Yeah.
I was talking to Matt, who I share the shop with, about the old Dan Echo pedal. And like that was my first actual delay pedal, so I have like a weird sentimental attachment to that. But the DD20 was, sort of having tap tempo. It does the weird, like there's the warp and the twist that you can do on it. It's just a good sort of proletariat delay pedal. Like
Nice.
I've spilt a lot of gin on it, and it's been thrown at things, and it's still ticking. Yeah, I actually kind of like that kind of crisp digital delay. Like almost more so than like the various tape echo kind of emulators. Like I've done the like Strymon rigmarole, and like I have an H9, which is kind of cheating.
Right.
But that was more of like a space saving endeavor, and I'm really just using kind of the arpeggiator on that and some reverbs. Yeah.
Interesting. Cool. All right, what you got for number 2?
Number 2 is August from Otis Amps. When he came through town, he left me a prototype of the old Blood Noise Fault, and it's kind of my favorite just sort of dirt pedal right now. And I have a weird thing about, I think like everyone, there's the whole, no one's ever really satisfied with their kind of overdrive or distortion setup. Like it seems like that's what gets swapped out the most.
Right.
But I really love it. It's like not transparent. It's like a real mean bastard. It's it's that I've never been good with like sort of Tim type pedals or like subtle drives because I think I was talking to Florian about this. It's like when I have a pedal, like my expectation of it is that it's always a ring modulator. You know, like I just want it to make a horrible noise immediately.
Right.
You know, which I think is, I don't know how to account for that.
No, I get it. I like if you I think that way. That's been my trouble with fuzz as of late, which is why I was chasing a Deviever Torns Peaker. You know, I had gone through a couple muffs and, you know, built one of my own. I was just like, it just isn't present enough.
Right.
And then I got this and I was like, good gravy. Here we go.
Right.
You know?
Right. It just cuts.
Oh, man.
Muffs are so tricky, man, because it's like they sound so good when you're by yourself.
Uh-huh.
And then in a band setting, it's totally different.
Yeah.
It's mostly because they lack mid range.
Yeah.
So because it's so scooped and sometimes it can be like tricky to play in a band.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So you really should get a fuzz that has an insane amount of mid range, so you won't get lost in a band setting.
Yeah. I feel like there should be like a different classification for that effect altogether. It is a singular idea, but is a very broad spectrum right now. There's like op amp sounds completely different than a fuzz face.
Right.
And a Russian muff sounds completely different than a lot of the boutique builders that are doing things like, Hungry Robot or Deviever or everybody sound different enough that it's kind of like, muff is a proprietary term, but it really is like, it sounds like a muff or it sounds like a splattery fuzz or it sounds like an op amp.
It's a different effect.
Yeah. Anyways, okay, cool. So, my other thing about the chasing the dirt, right?
Right.
I'm wondering if we do that because there are so many options.
Yeah.
Your brain just goes like, it's the grass is always greener kind of syndrome.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's a problem. Yeah.
Well,
right.
we like
you
gear,
call that
so
a problem,
it's a good problem they have.
Yeah.
It is.
You can see that as a problem or see that as fun.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I see it as fun. My wife sees it as a problem.
Right.
All right. So what do you got for number 3?
3 and 4 are both fuzzes.
Ooh.
So the 3 would be the Last Gasp Super Oscillo Fuzz 88.
Holy moly! I've not heard of that.
It's great. It's this Australian company that's run by this Japanese guy in a noise band called Defectro. I think it's what it's called. And it's like it's like the MXR sized enclosure, but it's got 6 mini switches.
Oh wow!
And like a CV input, so you can, and it's just like an oscillating fuzz. But depending on how you have the switches set, it can go from just like a splatty sort of gated fuzz to just like horrible oscillating. Just noise, and it's great. It's like a pedal, like you step on it and you bum everybody out, and it's exactly what I've always wanted out of fuzzes.
Nice.
which is my main problem, honestly. Like when I had a big board, it was like fuzz, and then like a delay and a tuner. But no, I love it, and I've had it for a while. It's actually broken right now through no fault of its own. It's just been played a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But that whole company is great, and everything they make is super weird, and with varying degrees of how usable it is, depending on what type of a player you are. But
I want the Misty Cave delay from them.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a great pedal.
The Mystic Cave.
Yeah, it's like a delay, but in the repeats of the delay, you can control some kind of a weird filter,
mm-hmm.
which you can control with an expression pedal.
Oh wow.
It sounds like no other delay. It's really weird. You should check that out on YouTube. It's a blue pedal with like 3 knobs on the side, and yeah, it's a great
Wow.
pedal.
And this
Yeah.
is so the brand name is one more time.
It's a Last Gasp Art Laboratories.
Okay. Last
And
Gasp Art
Yeah.
Laboratories.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Whew.
and they're they're amazing.
Australia's got some great pedal builders down there.
Yeah, they do.
So okay, so let's get to number 4.
Number 4 is just a Zvex Mastertron. It's one of those pedals that I've like bought and sold so many times, and I just end up rebuying it because it does a thing, like there's so much low end in it, and you can do the splat.
Yeah.
It's more controllable than the Super Oscillo Fuzz, but I just like that you can just the low end is really present, and it cuts through better than a muff. Yeah, and it's one of those things that for a long time I sort of resentfully had it because it, as with like a fuzz problem, you feel like there's something kind of pedestrian about it. It's like having a DS1 or something.
Yeah.
But like the DS1, like it's probably not like ubiquitous yet, but it's good pedal. And I had the Woolly Mammoth for a long time, and I actually like the Mastertron better.
Interesting. So what is about the characteristic of the Mastertron that you like better than the Woolly Mammoth?
It has it's got like an input impedance where you can kind of push or kind of chill out the signal some, which affects how. I guess the practical part of that is for different kind of output pickups, but it kind of changes the character of the fuzz. You can pretty much control just the waveform, like all the way from just broken sounding to like really full, like almost distortion rather than fuzz.
That's a really interesting thing that you just said about the pickups. I may not be familiar with a pedal if it is out there that does this, and maybe you just said that that's what this is, but I like the idea of having a really wicked fuzz pedal that if I'm like, oh, guess what? I'm playing my humbuckers. There's a switch that will best, acclimate to that. Or, oh, no, I'm dropping down into my telly. Whoa, okay, flip that switch and it changes the profile. Is that kind of what you're saying it does?
Yeah, kind of. It's because it's that thing of, the pickups will, I don't know if this is correct. Florian and we had drinks with Seb from Ground Control Audio, and he was explaining a lot of things that I sort of thought I knew about pedals, and apparently I'm sort of mistaken. And it was very, very interesting. But as far as I know, I think that the Mastertron, changing the impedance, it does sort of, if you have hot pickups or like a vintage wind, you can get kind of the same character fairly quickly.
I've actually got 2 emails asking, hey, you should have Ground Control Audio on. And I'm like,
oh, you should.
I am. Everybody. They're coming on in November.
Seb is a great guy.
Yeah. So that's in November. So everybody just hang tight.
Nice.
Cool, man. That's a solid 4. I love fuzz and drive, so I'm always excited to hear what other people are playing. Just out of curiosity, since you were talking about the Zvex stuff, and did you ever tamper with the Fuzz Factory?
I did. I've had like a couple iterations of it. I had one of the Myrold ones, like in the early 2000s, and I think really the only reason why I stopped using it was because. It was one of the ones that it didn't have like a DC jack. You had it was battery only.
Oh, okay.
And I have a penchant.
Yeah, by then.
And I have a penchant for leaving things plugged in.
Sure.
So it was just having to have batteries around became kind of a nuisance.
Yeah.
And then I had one of the sort of Vexter series ones that I had for a long time, and I was sort of swapping the input cap out a lot, just trying different values to get more low end out of it. And I kind of stopped using that when I got the Mastertron, and the Super Oscillo Fuzz is so much gnarlier than the Fuzz Factory.
I gotta hear this pedal, man.
It's rad. Like
you never tried a Fuzz Factory, Todd?
No, I have. Well, so this last one, I had a Fuzz Factory and the Devi Ever and Hungry Robot all in my shopping cart at Reverb,
Oh yeah, yeah.
And then
Well,
I just kept watching the videos, and the one that I kept wanting to see was the Devi Hammer. I'm like, well, that does it, so I got to get that one
Right.
for right now.
I actually just got the Eruptor, and it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
you should, if you can, Todd, you should try also the Fraz Dazzler.
Oh,
from,
yeah.
From Dr. Scientist.
Yes.
That's on my board, and I think it's never leaving the board. Yeah, because you have like a 3-band EQ.
Mm-hmm.
You have like a gain, and after that you can control there is 2 foot switch on it, so you can control one is the bypass, and the other one controls a second stage where you can starve the fuzz if you want.
Oh yeah,
So
that's cool.
So you can really have 2 fuzzes in one without like tweaking the knobs, and so you can have like a real splatty one, and another one that sounds more like I don't know, a classic or a more classical fuzz.
Interesting. This is giving me a good idea for a potential future show where we can reconvene and just talk about fuzz.
Oh yeah. Man, it would, man, that would be.
That's like the never-ending story.
The never-ending story? What's that?
Yeah, that's a dangerous thing, man.
Yeah.
I think we need to do that.
For sure.
Okay, let's get on with this. So what I neglected to do for those listening and who haven't necessarily gone back to the backlog, if you're listening on iTunes, you might have missed the Lincoln episode, or maybe even the Millimetric, because they only want to show you 20 of the last episodes. Please go to the website and you can find all of the episodes, and they were really great. And just for anybody who doesn't know, Derek makes just some absolutely stunning guitars out of Austin, Texas.
I played them, and I can confirm.
Yeah.
Nice. Cool. Thank you, Florian.
Yeah, and Florian makes
but
some deliciously weird, awesome guitars up there in Quebec as well.
That's a good description.
Yeah, I mean,
deliciously weird.
It's very smart, very smart too.
Yeah.
One of the reasons that I personally gravitated towards both of these guys' designs is that they're also making many, if not, I'm not going to say all, but I know that you guys make a lot of your own parts. That is so totally different from someone who's just assembling stuff. And you've also come up with completely unique designs, which is rare. So for those who have not experienced what Lincoln Guitars and or Millimetric Instruments does, go and check it out. Check them out on Instagram, check them out on Facebook, check them out on their websites. We'll get to all that later.
Thank you, Todd.
Thanks, Todd.
You're
Thanks,
welcome.
Todd.
Make checks payable to Todd Novak.
Okay. I thought it was PayPal.
So, okay, let's talk about Sonore, which was an awesome guitar show up in Montreal. And I'm not going to be yapping about this. Florian, tell us the setup for what this thing is.
It's been a couple years since Montreal didn't had a guitar show, a proper one, which because before we had like the Montreal Guitar Show, but since 2011, if I'm not mistaken, it came to an end. So we were lacking a guitar show pretty bad, because we're a city where we have like a lot of builders concentrate in one city. So I really wanted to do a new guitar show, and I met 2 other builders last year at the Ottawa Guitar Show. Mike Sankey, the organizer of the Ottawa Guitar Show, told me, I told him that I wanted to start a new show in Montreal, and he told me, well, you should talk to Joël Barbeau and Théo Casorian, because they want to start a show also. So, and we got in contact and we started talking. They wanted to do a show more about like acoustic guitars, classical guitars, where I wanted to do a show that would be more on the electric side and the pedals, and also modular synthesizers. So we got together, we started talking, and after a while we just said to ourselves, well, we should join our forces and try to make something bigger with everybody involved in one show, so that won't be like a repetition of show for Montreal. So we did, and almost a year later, we had the first Sonore Festival. I think it went pretty great. And yeah, we had like 45 exhibitors, and most of them were acoustic guitars, but we had like a fair bunch of electric guitars and pedals, and we had like 440 visitors.
440?
40.
Okay, because I thought you said 1,000. I was like, wait.
Sorry.
You had 440,000.
Yeah, it was almost 500,000 people.
I'm usually mistaken between 1,000 and 100.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Well, the metric thing, you know.
Yeah.
That feels like a really good turnout.
Yeah. Also, given the fact that we didn't do a whole lot of publicity. We just did the Facebook, Instagram, a little bit of Craigslist and Kijiji posting, and a bit of posters in the city and stuff like that. So I guess we were really surprised. I think on the Friday at 8 we were like, what is happening? It was full and it was pretty cool. I'm really happy with how the show went on.
That's great to hear, because that just proves that you have whether you knew it or not, you have a very a thriving guitar community there.
Oh yeah.
And so it's just always good to hear, when people are surprised. When we have the shows down here in Columbus, like when people are setting up and you're looking around, you're like, well, I hope this doesn't suck. and then you can't even walk down the aisles. You're just like, this is crazy. You're like, all these people just came to hang out and do guitar stuff. It's a great feeling. So congratulations on that. And
thank you.
If you are listening and you're in the Montreal community, well done for going out and supporting the community that you're passionate about. And I hope that everybody got to meet Florian and all the other builders.
I think one thing that makes Montreal special about the guitar community is that we have a school of lute theory.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we have a school in Montreal. It's called the Bruant School, or École Bruant in French. And we we also have another school in Quebec, the Quebec City School. So in between the two cities, we have a lot of students coming out the school each year, and so it results in a really high density of luthiers in both cities. So that's why we needed a show in Montreal.
That's awesome. Yeah. That's really neat. I didn't know that those schools were there.
Yeah.
So, Derek, from your perspective, coming in, from, let's face it, Texas and guitars go together pretty well. So, sure. Your guitar world is much more populated, and you're somewhat fighting upstream because of that on a daily basis, I'm sure. Despite how awesome your actual product is, there's a lot here. So, tell me about your experience going into like a totally different market and seeing that community.
It was honestly the best guitar show I've ever been to. It's the only one like I did this year, but I've done like NAMM and like Guitarlington, like when I worked for other companies. I always wanted to do the Montreal Guitar Show before it got shut down in like 2011. I don't know. It was a very different sort of guitar show experience, like especially as a kind of a vendor. I think Florian and the other organizers did a really good job of it. Had more of kind of like a gallery feel. It wasn't the black tables with a black velvet background like in a convention center. And just the community part was really interesting because there are a lot of builders like in Austin. And I sort of talk to them occasionally. We don't really hang out, but Florian took me around to a couple different co-ops up there. There was the Atelier de la Corde and the Mile End co-op. And it was just really nice to see. You know, it was like 10 builders just all in a room.
That's awesome.
It was amazing. Just kind of just working, and like those two co-ops had really different sort of feels. But it seemed like it was sort of like people that sort of found like the right place for them, you know? Yeah, it was
Is there
great.
anything like that in Austin? I mean, I know, you know, you just mentioned you're not necessarily having, you know, omelet Sundays at your house. with
Right,
all the-
right. And, you know, I wouldn't mind. Like I talked to, you know, I've been trying to set up, you know, just hanging out. Like Copeland is here. And I think we keep running out of town at different times to check out each other's shop. And, you know, then there's a few builders, like Cardinal is here, and like Magnolia, and there's a few other builders, but it's not, I don't know. There's also something about being kind of like a walking city.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
Like the way life moves is a little bit different.
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know,
I mean, there's
but-
parts of Austin that feel like that, but then there's also
Sure.
like parts that you're just
Yeah,
that completely
it's,
not.
It's pretty spread out. It's like there's parts of it where it's like walking like in Los Angeles, you know,
Yeah.
where it's like just a lonely feeling,
Mhm.
just, you know, cars driving by. Like my shop is, you know, I share it with two other builders, like Matt from Needham Guitars and Greg, does mostly repair right now, but he's about to start building. And we kind of set it up like that because we were all sort of working alone and losing our minds in our various, you know, dark holes where
Yeah.
we stand all day.
Yeah.
So it's just been nice sort of having a space and bouncing ideas off people, and you just learn things just by like standing and bothering people.
Yeah.
You know, like I was talking to Florian about there's some processes that I've been doing the same for like 10 years. And then you see someone do something different that makes so much sense, and it would have saved like weeks or months of your life. And it's and it's just force of habit, and like whoever taught you how to do something, you know. And I think people, you know, you kind of fall into traps, process wise.
Sure.
So it was really kind of amazing to see the co-ops and
One thing that you just mentioned, which was, you know, you falling into traps and doing things, you know, your own way.
Right.
You know, I think part of that is our own fault as humans, you know,
Right.
resisting change or resisting the new. But
yeah,
also,
we're just creatures of habit. Yeah.
yeah. But I think there's also, we're prone to competition, and we are prone to, I figured this thing out and
Right.
I'm not going to give it away.
Right.
Which
see that
especially in the creative community, I think that
Right.
exists in a disproportionately bad way.
Yeah, I agree, but I think I don't know if it's just who I've been talking to.
Mm-hmm.
Like Florian and I talked about this a lot, of the whole like secret process thing or secret vendors thing. Like it's not any good for anybody, you
Right.
know? And it's like you know, there's been so many builders that have just sort of graciously offered things up, you know, without asking. Or like I was up there, and one of the hardest things you can do is source proper acetate celluloid for tortoiseshell.
Mm-hmm.
And Nick from Island just gave me a piece, and it took him 2 years to get it.
Wow.
Yeah, it's like this mysterious, like there's one factory in Italy and there's a factory in China, and like the minimum order is like 60 grand or something. So if you get a scrap of it, like, you know,
Yeah.
you hide it, and it's really hard to get. And yeah, he just gave it to me. And
Well, I think on that is when I think it's a luthier thing. When you like somebody's work, and you're glad to meet him, you wanna make a you wanna give him something, you know. So
Right.
and that was a really cool present you got.
yeah,
I like
really
that.
like super nice.
Speaking of the torch stuff, you might want to talk to Tony from Pick Guardian. He was just telling me about a huge order about that.
Oh, really? Yeah, I'll send it. I'll send an email. It's tortoiseshell. It's hard, man.
Yeah. So let's talk about, you said that there is like about 60% acoustic, and is that fair to say, or was it more or less, or?
I don't remember the exact numbers. I think we were 13 electric luthiers and around 20 something acoustic, classical, and archtop builders.
Mm-hmm.
And after that, we had like seven or eight amp, modular, and pedal builders. So
That's cool.
it's just that usually there is more acoustic builders, and
Why do you think that is?
In Montreal, it's probably because of the schools. Because there is a lot of school and a lot of students came out each year, and there is a lot of builders on the scene. So, and not a lot of them will do electric.
Mm-hmm.
Probably because I think that's one thing when you start to build acoustics, you can I think you don't really want to go back, because there is so much stuff you can do in acoustic building, and you kind of drowning into the rabbit hole. I think I'm not sure. I'm not an acoustic builder, so I don't know.
Derek?
As to why there were more acoustic builders?
Well, it just seemed disproportionate.
I think it probably just probably just had to do with there's just happens to be more acoustic builders up there because that's what the school focuses on.
No, because they're French.
Yeah, because they're French.
So, tell me, what about I'm sure, especially Derek, I'm sure you had a good time perusing seeing new builders and meeting new builders. It'd be great if each of you guys could just tell me about, one or two builders or guitars or something that really caught your eye, that really excited you.
Yeah, it was very, it's, that thing where you see pictures of guitars so much and you're not really sort of curious as to what they're like in real life. Like I got to see some builders that I've sort of looked at forever and I've never gotten a chance to play one in real life. I think, like, as far as like electrics go, I really enjoyed checking out Daddy Mojo guitars, and then as well as Obstructures, which I'm sure that was a highlight for Florian.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
And they were like pretty much everyone I talked to at the show, or everyone, like they were just sort of lovely people and like very open to talking about process. And it was, but those two I really enjoyed. There was a lot of acoustic builders that, that's out of my wheelhouse.
Mm-hmm.
But it was, you can just, something you pick up like a handmade instrument, and you can just kind of see all the minutia and all the details.
Mm-hmm.
It was like Joel, one of the organizers, like Barbeau, like his classicals were amazing, and Theo Kazurian, I don't know if I'm saying that right.
Yeah.
Those dudes, the Delacord co-op people like Marcotte and Dalglish, which I'm not saying correctly.
Dalglish, yeah.
Dalglish, yeah. Antoine, yeah. Those guys.
I'm impressed that you remembered as many of those names as you were able to. Jiminy Christmas.
Well, we stood in a room a long time. It was really great.
Florian, before I get into my next question, how about you?
Well, for me, one thing that was special, and Derek mentioned it just right now. I was super glad to get Obstructure on board, and you might remember the interview we did, and that's one of, I think, if not the biggest influence for my first guitars that I did ever, like design wise. So. Yes. I was really happy to get them on the show. I just texted Matt one day, because since I did my first guitar, we started talking on Facebook, and it's been like almost 6 years and something. And I just text him one day and say, "Oh, I'm organizing a show. Would you like to come? I would be very honored to get you on the show." He just replied, "Yeah. Yeah, let me check with the two other guys," and so that was for me, one really special moment firstly to meet Matt and the two other guys, Brian and Nate, but also to try the guitars, because those guitars I've been watching for almost 12 years. So and
Oh, this was the
to
first time you met him in person?
yeah, and the first time I was able to try the guitars.
Wow.
So because you don't see them every day, it's really rare. It's solid, all aluminum construction,
Uh-huh.
and not a lot of people are used to play that. And so that was for me a pretty huge moment in my luthier career.
That's great.
if I may
They
say.
they were amazing.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Super cool.
They're heavy, but they're you want to play some different stuff on that.
For
You don't play what you usually play on those guitars.
Yeah.
And after that, I think that count also for you, Derek, and for Matthew, because
Yeah.
I've been watching your work for a few years now. So, but apart from that, I would say also on the pedal side, I would say I was really glad to get Montreal Assembly because I think that dude is a real genius when it comes to pedal design and finding new effects that doesn't exist
Mm-hmm.
like at all. So yeah,
I'll have to get him on.
yeah, I was really glad to have him at the show.
That's cool. I'm so bummed that I wasn't able to go. If nothing else, it just would have been great to hang out with you guys. How, Derek, tell me about how you felt received, or what were some things that you heard about your work?
Some of it was actually stuff I was saying, where people were talking about how you see a picture of something often enough, and you kind of wonder how that translates into real life.
Mm-hmm.
And the hope for that is that it doesn't disappoint.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just very happy that the guitars made the plane trip, and that just that they got to get handled. It was I think the guitar got taken off to kind of the ISO boost a couple of times, and it was nice to get feedback about kind of playability and sort of fit and finish from just people that happen to be there.
Mm-hmm.
And I also want to interject quickly. Basically, I made the trip up there. It was because I wanted to play a Millimetric, and that did not disappoint at all. And I got to see a couple guitars that are being made for friends, and they should be be
That's cool.
It was really really nice.
Thank you, Derek.
Thank you.
My desire to go there, not before even knowing that Derek, you were going to go, was not unlike that. Like, yeah, I wanted to go. I absolutely want to go hang out and cause some chaos with Florian, but I really wanted to try one of those guitars.
Yeah.
And then when he's like, "Oh, Derek's coming," I'm like, "No."
Yeah. No, you combine like getting to hang out in Montreal and hanging out with Florian. It was kind of a no-brainer.
Yeah.
I'm sad Matt, who I share space with, wasn't able to come up, but brought one of his guitars up.
I was bummed too. Yeah.
Yeah, but I've been relaying tales from the festival to him, and but if they'll have us next year for sure.
Yeah, I got a plan better for that for sure.
Yeah.
But I have a plan. I'm planning on maybe going, because I really have to go see Chicago one day. And I would really want to go to the Columbus Guitar Show.
It is. It's fun. It's pretty interesting.
Yeah.
There's a lot of builders there, it's not. I shouldn't say it's a lot of builders. There are a lot of builders, but it's almost like a gear swap and a show combined. Speaking of that, going to Chicago, if if any of you guys are into it, Alchemy Audio has that event coming up on October 15th, where it's gear swap and show.
Oh wow!
So
nice.
Yeah, we're 4 of us are heading up there, and we're gonna hang out and have a couple tables there for various. Jared's gonna have his pickups. Actually,
Nice.
Chase from Chasing Vintage, I think, is gonna be putting a table up there too. So, and
Cool.
yeah, his guitars are pretty.
Yeah,
pretty epic.
I'm looking forward to play one day.
Yeah.
Yeah, me too.
So, do me a favor, if you guys can, would you put up some photos of the event on our Facebook group?
Sure, no problem.
Awesome. And I appreciate you guys. This is a shorter one than normal, but I appreciate you taking your time to share what happened, and it's always great to talk to you guys. So more in the future, I'm sure. Let's
Thank you.
transition into getting out of this thing, because I know, Derek, you got a hard stop, so we're gonna make that comfortable for you.
Yeah, I got a jet in like 10-ish minutes.
You bet. All right. So we're gonna do, and I'm just gonna do this since Jared's not here. Would you rather?
Nice.
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 Anyways, he does
Should
it
I
very
clap?
well. He likes doing that. That's his thing. Okay, for our Would You Rather this episode, this truncated but action-packed episode, we're asking, in a Telecaster bridge position, would you rather have a lipstick pickup or a P90? I know that they don't fit in there normally. Don't get hung up on it. This is fantasy make-believe. Imagine that either one of those could sit in there. All right, Florian.
I will have to go with the lipstick because I used to own a Dan Electro guitar that I really liked a lot, and the pickups have something like really special, and depending on what is in the neck, it could sound really, really awesome. So yeah, I'll go with the lipstick because P90 on the bridge can be not dark, but a bit dull, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
Okay, that's good.
Yep.
That's solid. Derek?
Yeah.
I'm also I'm very fond of Dan Electros, sort of sentimentally, but I'd have to go with the P90, just because I'm P90 everything always forever. I don't know. That just works for me. Like I am happiest with like a P90 going into like a 5E3 type amp.
All right.
Oh yeah.
That's my jam.
Okay.
How about you, Todd?
You know what? I love P90s. I do. And you never end up going with the thing that you start out saying qualifying.
Right.
So I'm gonna go out on a limb, and I'm gonna go with the lipstick on this one because I like my telly. I like I like this the bite that I get out of that, and I think having that in the lipstick would sound great. I think a P90 might be a little soft in there for my taste. But who knows? Because I've never seen either one of those in there. So that's a thing. All right, both of you guys go make a guitar with each of those in there. Go and make.
Can I just add a shameless plug?
Yeah.
I'm going to the Fear the Riff Gear Show in New York next October. So if any of you...
Wait, this coming October, like 2017 or 18?
17.
Fear the Riff.
So there will be like a lot of brands. I'm going there with Ground Control. October 7th, there will be like All Blood Noise, I think Earthquaker Devices. There is a lot of builders in there. Electronic Audio Experiment and a lot of others. It's going to be... it's the first year too, so might be like Sonore and might be fun.
That sounds way cool. I would love to do that. I know that they just had a pedal show in Brooklyn.
Yeah, the Stompbox exhibit.
Yeah. Well, all right. We got to get Derek out of here. So I'm just going to wrap this up. Hey, everybody. Big thank you to Derek from Lincoln Guitars. Please go check him out. Thank you to Florian of Millimetric Instruments. Please go check him out. And you guys, please feel free to ask any questions. Feel free to give shout outs to any of these guys online. If you see their stuff, like their stuff and find out more about them. Guys, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. And
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you
so much
again
for having us.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
We'll do it again soon. We won't wait for Fuzz. I'll just have you guys back on. How about that?
Okay.
Sure.
Oh no, I would be down for fuzz, man.
Oh yeah, me too.
So, hey, everybody, we want to thank our executive producers for the support of our podcast. Tom Barazin, Martin Cliff, David Wolfson, Matt Brammer, Carlos Mancha, and a new one, our new friend, Pete Marshall. Thank you guys so much for supporting our show. It means a whole bunch to us. If any of you others would like to become an executive producer, head over to the patreon.com/the Guitar Knobs to find out how. And you don't have to just be an executive producer. You can just be a supporter of other tiers that we have set up for you. Anyways, have an awesome time until we speak again. Go do guitar stuff. Surprise! I don't know why I said surprise. Subscribe!
Surprise!
Well, that's it for these knobs. Please visit our Patreon page at patreon.com/the Guitar Knobs. Visit our website at theguitarknobs.com for all of our past episodes, 4 on the Floor blog, and other good stuff. You can connect with us on social too at our Facebook page and share your gear and stories on our Facebook group. Also, be sure to check out our Instagram at Guitar Knobs. Catch you next time.